Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Iron Realm Media Podcast. We're taking this opportunity to sort of introduce our website. We've been on hold for several months now. We've made a few soft openings, maybe, tried to get together and do a few shows, but this is our official launch and release. So welcome. We are joined by all sorts of people here with us today. We have James, the Full Armor OG. We have Walt, also known as Facebone777 on Twitter. Also with us is John Savage, or Sweary G on Twitter. We have Adam Meakin, also known as Watcher Red, Watchio Red on Twitter.
You got it, bro. There you got it.
There you go.
Also joining us is Richard Kalberg, author of the Narrow Gate blog at narrowgateweb.wordpress.com. We have James. We already introduced James. We have Rob at Rob Freddy on Twitter. And I am Josh. Corey, you can find me about anywhere, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. So welcome, everybody, to Iron Realm Media Podcast.
Cheers, John.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello, all.
Hello.
Hello. While we're still at the top of the hour, John, plug your blog, my brother. It's awesome so far.
Oh, bloody hell. I can't remember what it is. What's it called? Savage Plain.
There you go.
That was on the spot, see?
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, brother. That was awesome.
Yeah,
But
Savage Plain.
I'm glad you asked.
Nice.
What'd you say, John? SavagePlane.wordpress.com. That's Plane, Savage
That's
Plane.
That's right. It's a little
WordPress.
thing I discovered this week. So, yeah, I've been having a bit of fun with that.
I'm glad
Awesome.
you put John on the spot instead of me, Walt.
Say again, Rich?
I'm glad you chose to put John on the spot instead of me.
It's like trying to remember your passwords. Like, oh, shit. Yeah, cheers for that, Walt.
Yeah, I had to pull yours up, Richard, just to make sure I got it right.
Oh, thanks.
I recommend everyone have a go. It's such an easy way of storing your information because I've got absolute mountains of information. It's something like a 400-page document just full of links and everything I've found. And yeah, it's a great way to. I'm basically slowly migrating all of my decent links onto the blog, and then hopefully I'll get to the stage where Richard's at, where anyone who asks a question, you just send them to a blog post and get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite a nice position.
The trick then becomes organization and table of contents, hey?
Yeah. I
Richard warned me about
that. I spent about a day and a half writing a table of contents to kind of provide an abstract or summary for my blog.
Yeah, I don't know how you did that, Richard. That's bloody prophecy. That is. I don't know how you did it. I'm just winging it.
Hey, Rob was saying something really interesting earlier about, or was it the other day, about the angle, Rob, of what's happening, the arc of the sun. Is that still going on for you?
Yes. So this morning I'm watching the sun come up at about 102 degrees, but the sun is arcing from my right foot to my left shoulder. I would have thought once the sun got to 90 degrees and beyond, because I am above the Tropic of Capricorn, I'm at 19 degrees, I would have thought that the sun would be moving from my left foot around to my right shoulder, if everyone can understand that.
Yeah, something screwy there, isn't it?
Doesn't really make sense.
No. Well, I marked a line. I've got a shed pole here that I marked. I'm pretty sure that it's straight up and down that pole.
You sort of need.
I'm pretty sure the builder's got it right. But so I marked a line, and the sun is definitely moving to my left.
You sort of need to do is get one of those silly globe things with a map on it, and and a light and sort of trace what it looks like from the actual, from turning the ball on its 24-degree tilt and blah, blah, blah. That would be really cool to sort of stick a camera on the ball and turn it slowly with one light on in the room and see what angle or arc it makes on that. Other than that, I don't really know how to visualize it. It's hard, isn't it, with the tilt and everything?
Yeah, it would be hard. You'd have to almost mount a camera on the ball.
Common sense would tell me that once it got to 90 degrees, so it was directly above my head, say in around about the early October, I think it would have been 90 degrees for me, straight up and down. But after that, it would be sort of arcing the other way.
You mean when it raises? Do you mean it rising at 90 degrees?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Got you.
Yep.
Got you.
That's
So due east.
Yep. Yeah. So it's at 102 degrees this morning. So it's beyond that 90-degree mark.
You'd expect it to come south of you, wouldn't it? And you're saying it's
yeah,
and back down again.
And that should how it be working on a flat Earth too. It should be arcing the other way on a flat Earth too. As it goes around me, as it goes around me, it should be going the other way, but it's not doing that.
That's interesting too. I love things that conflict with both the ball and
right.
flat.
That's I was just unmuting to say, well, that doesn't work in either model.
Very interesting. Yeah, we need more people in the south, don't we? We definitely need someone in deep New Zealand to check these figures out with you, because everything seems to go screwy in the south. North is quite predictable, I think.
We'll move down here, John.
No chance.
James, it's not as cold here, James. It's nice.
I've been to Australia. I love Australia. I would move in a heartbeat, man.
Yeah, I love Australia. Absolutely, it's the Australian government and that I don't particularly like. And I was meant to be emigrating to Australia a few years back, but pulled the plug on it when I realised I could probably handle myself better in the UK with the police state we're setting up here than I could with an English accent in Australia. And I think I made the right move there.
We've got heaps of English working for the company that I do, John. Lots and lots and lots of them.
Oh, they like
2 or 3 in my office alone.
I bet you give them a hard time.
And one of them's from Nottingham, Adam.
Yeah, mate. Bloody immigrants, eh?
I had to go and talk to him to ask him what oot meant.
It's out. It's out. It's out as
Out.
in, out, like, yeah. It don't mean out
Anything.
at all.
Anything.
Yeah,
I guess it means anything.
That's it, yeah. It don't mean out, that.
Well, why don't you write anything? Is that hard?
Look, questioning grammar and slang from an Australian is bloody cheeky, really. Yeah. No, yeah, I admit we can't talk proper as lot, but
I'm not saying a word.
it's out on me duck.
We've got all sorts of accents here.
I'm just lucky I can hear all you guys, eh?
What have we got? We've got deep south redneck. We've got...
Yes, sir.
I'm not calling you a redneck.
So I take offense to that.
Scandinavian, is it, Richard?
Well, it's a bit of a mix of everything.
Yeah, right, same here. Northern England, Australian, Canada, is it? Have we got Canadian?
Yeah.
It's
I'm
James.
Italian Irish by blood, but yeah, I'll take it. Canada.
Yeah, to Canada. Yeah, you say a boot, don't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's outrageous.
Years and years of listening to Dean Clifford and others hammered into my head the Canadian language accent. Sorry.
You do say A quite a bit, James. A.
Really? I don't even notice it.
Nothing wrong with it.
Not a thing.
So let me take a quick poll quickly. How many in the room here believe that the moon and the sun are real solid objects at this point? And there seems to be a lot of talk about translucent refractions or images casting from somewhere else. Like, seems to be a big thing right now is the shape and material of the sun and moon. What do you guys think?
I mean, if you look at the moon, astronomers have recorded seeing stars through the half moon when it's not full moon for centuries, and that suggests that it's translucent.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to find evidence. Oh, sorry, you go ahead, Walt.
No, go right ahead. I was going to say, I've noticed the whole effect of seeing the blue through it, and and everybody's like, well, no, you're seeing the blue in front of it, and that just doesn't work out from light, and it just doesn't work. And then I've seen it, the stars through it. I've noticed it myself and thought it had to be just a trick of the light, or this was way early on in my astronomy days. So.
And for me, I don't know about you guys, but I'm more observing how it is sort of person. You guys think too much for me. Honestly, an experiment for me this morning was drawing a line on the cement. And that's how easy it can be sometimes, just to have a bit of a think about what's going on in the world. Drawing a line on the cement and seeing what's happening.
Zetetic empiricism. I'm with you, Rob. I need to see things and visually see it. I've seen the videos of the stars through the moon and everything, and I didn't want to jump to conclusions that it was through the moon. So I was also entertaining the idea that the stars are in front of the moon.
Like, we can speculate on what the moon is, we can speculate on what the sun is, all we like. That's just speculation, isn't it? It's just...
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, trying to prove that, right?
I mean, I tried to look at the craters on the moon and see that at the edges, the craters are more oblong shaped, oval shaped than they are nearer the center. So that sort of fits in with a semi-sphere. Of course, none of us know what the back of it is. It could be a slice of orange. We don't know. But speculating is the you could disappear down that for forever.
And I think we only get
to see that one side of the moon anyway, so we can't even judge for sure if that's a concave or a convex moon that we're seeing. It could very well be concave.
Absolutely, yeah. So it could be semi-hemispherically inclined, concave.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Josh. Have you guys ever watched CD's Take Back Space Television, his presentations of live footage of the moon with his P900? Now he's got 4K and all that going. During some of his videos, we've watched, and he plays music on his guitar, and you'll see this effect where the craters suddenly invert and become convex versus concave and pop in and out, and you see it happening. So I'm thinking that's a very good idea, kind of like those like the Jesus statue imprinted into the plaster, and you walk across the room and it looks 3D because it's inverted into the plaster, that kind of thing. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, there's a good video out there on YouTube for a substance called Vanta Black or Fanta Black. It's like this new black that absorbs like 99% of all the light, so it's just like a black hole essentially. And they were just showing. Go ahead, James.
It's a different kind of coloring. It's the way your eye views it. It's sorry. I can't remember the name right now.
Angle, I know. I can't either. I'm trying to think of it too.
But I recommend just reading up about the Vanta Black. It's really amazing stuff.
Amazing.
But there's a video where a guy took a plaster cast of his face, and as the camera pans around to the back of the cast, all of a sudden the face does the same thing. It goes from a concave mold to a sort of extruded
Exactly.
three-dimensional sculpture, and you can't tell which was which.
Right. That's kind of what those do on the videos with CD, those craters.
Yep.
Have you seen that experiment with in a classroom where a teacher with students around, he's got this apparatus which is two curved mirrors, like imagine two plates on top of each other, making like a capsule, and he's got a small pig standing in the bottom of one, and there's a hole in the top of the disc. I don't know how to explain this better, but and it creates a hologram that looks perfectly solid.
And it acts solid too. That's what was really interesting.
Exactly, it acts solid. So when they shine a flashlight on the hologram of it, I mean, it's not there. You can pass your finger through it. But when you shine a flashlight on the pig that appears to be there, it creates a shadow.
No.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's too much.
Imagine like a ping pong ball that you cut in half, and on the inside is a mirror. And on one, you just poke a little hole. So then you put the pig in the bottom of one, and then the other half with the hole you put on top. But now out of that little hole in the top comes this hologram of a pig, whatever's sitting in the
like
bottom.
a little toy. I've seen the little toy.
right.
It's like it's like a UFO shape mirrored inside, and you have the little whatever, you put a coin or a toy.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
but I didn't realize you could shine a light on that projection and it casts a shadow.
Yeah, it does.
I'm going to buy one today now. Oh, that's insane.
Go ahead, Richard. What were you going to say?
That was all I was going to say.
Oh, all right.
Well done, then.
I
Anyone
just
got a
wanted to,
video of that?
I can see if I can find that.
Wow, that's making my brain reel at this moment.
Graphic pig on YouTube or something.
wanted to go back to something Rob touched on too, is simplicity, eh? Keep it simple, you know. There's a lot to be said in like people complicating flat Earth. I find that everything is so complicated and it has to be so grand. I really like what you said, because it's what we see, it's what we hear, it's what we, you know, can touch and visually and viscally and observe.
Problem is, you've got people telling you what you're seeing, and for years, people have been telling you that the boat is going over the horizon. People tell you that the sun is dipping over the horizon, but if you have a think about it and have a look for yourself.
But I'm living proof that you can break those, you know, those barriers, and if the longer you stay with it, the more you'll see, and you know, the more you know. Sorry, go ahead, John. I'll shut up.
No, I've got to pop away. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Just got to make sure the monkeys are still in bed.
Nice.
All right.
Well, the simplicity idea is kind of what I harp on, because, I mean, I sat just like we all did. I watched the videos. I went to the books. I looked for these things, trying to find it for myself. But until you observe what's going on with the sun up there endlessly, days on end, until you go look at that moon every night kind of thing. I mean, most people are lost like this. You know, their cell phone screens have them so distracted, they're not looking up. So it just goes by. It's kind of what made me go out there and see, okay, if that sun is really arcing away from me to the right, then I should be able to record that with my camera. It shouldn't be going down and sinking the same size, and it didn't. It went away and got smaller into the distance in an arc to the right. So anyone, you can go out and look at it. Anyone out there, you can do your own experiments. You can draw something on the ground like Rob's doing. Take out your cell phone. Just pay attention.
Yeah, I'm a truck driver. I'm a truck driver, and that's all I do. As I'm driving towards things, I'm trying to estimate how far things are in the distance, and what I should be seeing and what I shouldn't be seeing. And I'm, you know, yesterday I watched the sun come up as I was driving towards it, and then I worked that many hours that I watched the bastard go down as well. So I'm thinking about it all day. All day I'm thinking about what I should be seeing and what I shouldn't be seeing.
That's why I wanted to mention it, because the simplest thing, like there's being no curve, is all we really need. We get so focused on so many other things and mass and formulas and this and that, you know what I mean? But anyways.
But Adam, I could probably explain this one to Adam as well. I know I've said it to you guys a few times, that you've got an island or a hill that's, say, 30 or 40 miles away, and I see them all the time. Those islands should be changing shape as you're getting towards them. You should be seeing more of it, not just getting bigger, but you should be seeing more of the island. That's starting to see the base of the island or base of the hill as you're getting towards it. But that's not what happens. I can be 40 miles away, and that shape of that mountain or that hill does not change as I get closer to it. And that, for me, is one of the best proofs that I've found.
I think I watched a video this afternoon actually on that. There's a gent doing comparisons of mountain heights at a level viewing perspective, and demonstrates that mountains sort of 30, 36 and 42 sort of miles away, all of comparative heights are all still got the same comparative height. You know what I mean?
Seen that was the hiker, wasn't it? Was that the hiker, Adam?
Yeah, that's
I've seen that. It's very good, isn't it? Very good.
Yeah.
It's called Mountains of Evidence, I think, isn't it? Or Mountains of Proof or something like that.
Can you send a link? I want to watch that. That's interesting. Does he address anything about ever seeing a variation in those mountain heights?
I think he was only up there for a couple of hours while he was filming it.
So it's not like a thing.
Yeah, it was hard. It was tough for him to get to, Walt, because he was trekking all through. Right. I'm not sure what state he was in, but he was trekking all through whichever state it was, and he finally found a couple of hills that were the same height. And then so it took him a few days of him camping out and trying to get the evidence and trying to get the info right. You know, he had his little altimeter there, trying to get the right heights, and so it was actually quite a trek for him. He did well.
My brother, as you all know, is still wrestling with all this and looking at it and fighting hard against all the programming. He, on his daily drive there in Oregon, always sees Mount Hood in the distance. It's huge. You see it. And at a certain point on his daily trip, he's shown it to me 3 different times now. You go through this area where at a certain area you pass by an overpass sign that's coming up to let you know an exit's coming up. And at that point you see the mountain through that signage. And on different days, it's at different heights. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, maybe it's the old theory we are floating on water and on the backs of the turtles all the way down. I don't know. It's just, it seems like there's an undulation occurring on the surface to these land masses.
Did you see the footage that Jaron put out across a bay, and it was showing the town on the other side of the bay? I think if you do a search on his channel for Horizon, I think it's the top one. It's about 26 minutes long or something like that, and it shows the town across the bay rising and lowering as the atmosphere of the day changes as the sun comes up, and it's really interesting. You
get to see different heights, don't you, of the shoreline as the different air temperatures change and everything with it. But
but also the landmarks, the actual land, it seems to be raising and lowering, as does the sea in front. So just as you're saying, Walt.
Right, the same lane, same day. I mean, you know, not same time of day. I've gone different days. Those 3 different times he showed it to me, and I definitely noticed the height different, like crazy, noticeable difference. So, yeah, that could be it. Maybe there's more to that. And that could lead back into the whole sun thing being not where we're actually seeing it, that it's some kind of phenomena, focal point, cymatic focus area, whatever, that is not an object. It's just, where is it coming from? That's the part that I still am trying to figure out. If it's a source somewhere outside of what we call the firmament, then maybe this whole refraction thing we're talking about with the heights of the mountain plays into why the sun appears different in different areas.
Yeah. I'm just queuing that up, so I'll share my screen with you.
I was trying to find one to send myself.
Sure, Jaron wouldn't mind. I was hoping he'd be here. Where are you, Jaren?
Next time.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have anything better to do? Can't he just come on whenever we want him here?
Yeah, right.
It's not like he has a life.
Look at dude's doing anything, uncovering the secrets of the world or anything.
Can people see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Might need to connect. You might need to click on me. But you see the way the land is moving. It's this mirror band. I'm more and more convinced with this band on the horizon that is.
Right.
So
Wow.
you get that reflective band. That I don't know.
Yeah, that's basically probably exactly got to be it. What Paul's experiencing daily, saw those 3 times.
I mean, it's only when it's way off in the distance, but it seems quite consistent that, when they film the boats sailing away, then at some point you get a mirror image of the top and the bottom deck upside down. I mean, you've got to be looking for it to recognize it, but it's definitely there. And
Yep.
Phuket World did a great video with it, just with a lighter across a flat playground and showing how the lighter was being inverted by this mirrored band is the best thing I can describe it as. That's weird, though, isn't it?
Hey, John,
Oops, sorry. Sorry about that. Video started automatically here.
That was
In there.
Broadcast Commission radio the other day while I was driving along. And they had a guy on there that was talking about the moon doing the tides. And he also said that the moon makes the Earth change shape by about 30 or 40 centimeters every 12 hours.
How did he explain that?
Yeah.
Is that because Neil deGrasse told him?
But the radio, he was, I don't know who he was. But the radio had brought it up, but I just couldn't believe what I was hearing.
You're very quiet, Rob, by the way. Is it just for me or everyone?
It seems like he's moving away from him or something.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
That's better.
I think he was a scientist. The radio host really lapped it up, but yeah, 30 or 40 centimeters every 12 hours is changing shape as the moon's moving around us.
Now, how can we possibly test that, I wonder?
That's right. That's exactly what I said. I actually yelled at the radio that exact statement. How the hell are you going to test that?
How did the troll like that one?
I haven't. Now I only just thought about it then when you were when you had that video up there, John. So yeah.
But you see this now where you've got that mirrored band,
Right.
and it's actually reflecting below what's above it, just below it in that mirrored band. It's just very strange, but it seems quite consistent.
Almost reminds me of what we see on the road on the tire when you look far enough sometimes.
Yeah. Well, like I say, Phuket World did this across a playground with his camera on the ground and a lighter on the ground on the other side of the playground, and he was zooming in on it and showing it perfectly. And people were walking past and their feet were mirrored. You'd have 2 sets of toes and things like this.
I did watch that. When you said that, it clicked in my mind because it's all sounded familiar, but that image in my head, I did.
Well, let me see if I can bring that up as well. Let me unshare for a minute. Talk amongst yourself.
Maybe I do watch too many YouTube videos.
Well, here, let's just watch this pig real quick. This is really interesting.
I want to see this one. Yeah, this was the one that was breaking my brain a while ago.
Yeah,
So I'm not going to really play the video too much. I'm just going to kind of skim through it. So this is the top of the mirror. This is the hole in the top. There's another one below it. I'll just kind of play it forward a little bit, and they'll show you that there's the pig in the bottom. He puts the top on. Then there's the pig.
Yeah.
Now, see, you can't touch it, but he's going to break out the flashlight, and it catches light. You can shine a light off the hologram.
That's
going
He's not shining
the
it.
top hole, isn't it?
That's yeah.
No. Now it's going into the top hole.
Oh, that does look different.
Wow. Okay.
I used to have one of those 2 years ago.
A copyright strike for that. And Walt, I was thinking about what your brother was saying about Mount Hood and how you can see the sunlight still reflecting off the top of the mountain, but not the bottom.
Right.
You ever played around with black lights?
Mm-hmm.
And the way that light with black lights seems to fall? Like it's only falling towards things that can specifically reflect it? So like if it's not reflecting it, it looks like the light's not even shining there.
Wow, I never thought about it that way. Right.
So I'm thinking of different light waves and just the kind of the way that light's passing through, and it's only falling in certain areas and it's not falling in others, depending on the time of day or atmospheric conditions or who the heck knows. But I was just kind of thinking of how that could possibly be, and I got to thinking about the black light. Thought there might be some sort of correlation there.
So different frequencies of light have different weight, and they thus fall differently and shorter or whatever, so you don't see things. Yeah, I got it.
That's really interesting, Josh.
Okay, I'm turning the thing down. I apologize. I'm sending this video there real quick, too. Just that one with the plexiglass. Did you guys get a chance to watch over that one? I sent in the
Yeah, that was fantastic.
I think that has pretty much got to be the key somehow. It's just that whole question is, what is the source?
Yeah, whatever you do. Yeah, run that in the background because that is absolutely eye-opening, showing you that the light source may not be where you're seeing it. Has everyone seen that with the plexiglass semicircles and curves and...
I'm getting it queued up there and then sharing it to you, Josh. 1 second.
It's a real eye-opener. I suggest everybody take a look at this one.
Just have it running in the background.
And again, not to kind of toot our own horn, but it's a simple thing again. And last night I was thinking, one thing that they can't do is recreate something that's so universally known in a model, like when you were talking about a model earlier. They can't make a model that water sticks to a ball. So it struck me as very strange that this huge, massive institute of science that is so good at recreating everything they do, because they swear by it, can't recreate anything in terms of the actual world they claim we live in.
Yeah, exactly.
I know it's simple, but I thought I'd say it. Yeah. They can't even make a model to prove their stuff, like a little, scaled down globe that'll work in any sort of way.
Nothing, because they say that Earth is such a big gravity pull that there's no getting away from it on Earth. So they can do all their experiments off Earth, which none of us can get to.
But they didn't contradict their own selves with the same thing. I mean, that was one of my early ones as a child, trying to go like, okay, so if this is how gravity works, I should be able to take sand and gather it up and make a planet out of it on the beach, shouldn't I? They should all attract together and all this whole, well, no, the gravity well's too big of the Earth and blah, blah, blah. Well, then why is the moon staying where it is? The sun is the bigger pull of gravity. It should have sucked it away a long time ago. We're less, the whole thing just doesn't, it falls apart even in their own model.
Yeah, exactly. Why isn't the moon orbiting the sun rather than us? But they'll say it's all the what do they call it? The Kármán line or no? No, it's another zone, isn't it, where there's neither push nor pull, and it just...
Well, the balance that keeps it perfectly balanced, and it's able to tug on our oceans, but not pull itself into our mass.
It doesn't tug on the Mediterranean or the Black Sea. I mean, they're pretty bloody big places, and they've got tidal ranges of about 10 centimeters. But of course you can go to the Mediterranean and see, 6 foot swell, 6 foot breakers coming in on the shores because of the weather. That's what it is. Pressure, high and low pressure weather, hot air, cold air, a humongous sun, whatever that is, going around, and a moon going around above it with electromagnetic or electrostatic or whatever it's giving off. But, only seawater, salt water, is affected by tides. That tells me it's an attraction. It's a salt thing, so it's an electromagnetic salt attraction. So therefore, we're basically one huge battery. Richard, I think you were saying the other day, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did mention the dielectric.
He's still here?
Richard's dropped out, keeps on dropping out.
Yeah, he's having trouble.
He'll be back on. But yeah, one big saline battery, right? One big.
Right. Well, I mean, we have a magnetic pole in the middle surrounded by salt water. You're headed for a battery right there.
What do you think, Adam? You're a chemist. I don't know if that's relevant.
Sorry, I was on mute, guys. Sorry about that.
We do that a lot.
I just nipped down for a glass of wine, if I'm being honest. Out of the cave, just for a quick glass of wine. So sorry. I would agree. I think we are in one big battery. That's kind of what I'm messing about in the shed doing at the moment, trying to tap that. Not overly successfully, but playing about with both magnets and trying to pick up some of the magnetic charges that are about. So I would completely concur that we're.
And so along with that, we would expect to have magnetic lines or vortex lines or something.
Ley lines.
Ley lines, exactly. Give it another name. Van Allen belt or a dome.
Yep.
I mean, the dome is looking more and more probable, but the size of it, I still like to hold on to. If there is a dome there, then it's huge. And I mean, the Earth is just a small, or the part that we call Earth is just a small part under it, So it's way bigger. I like to think anyway.
I think
because otherwise the dome provides a prison. You've gone from a prison planet to a prison dome. What's better?
I don't want either one.
Well, whatever it is. But I'd like to. I can't prove a dome, so
I beg to differ, though. I think when it all rolls out and everything's unveiled, I think that most people will be delighted to know, what the true scope of where we are is, and we can love it. We'll all love it and come together.
A dome signifies a creation.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is the only difference I would say that the dome signifies construction and therefore.
Well, a physical dome does. I don't know. What if it's just magnetic vortex lines and that is a dome? Forming a dome like a toroidal, whatever it is shape.
How does that signify that it isn't still a creator, though?
Because I think you can create that in the lab. Or in nature, sort of thing.
I know, but then we have to go to the part where nothing exploded, and then that's another show. So.
No. I'm sort of saying you could build a your giant battery or whatever mock-up of a flat Earth, and this dome structure may appear naturally just because of the electromagnetics, the positives, negatives.
I misunderstood you. Sorry, John.
That's all right.
But the whole construct must be created and for that this perfect situation to happen. So essentially, the only way to do it is by creation.
I even to prove everyone has to be a creationist, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Essentially.
Even the Big Bang was created.
Absolutely.
I have a question.
Anyways, did you guys see Richard's? Here's another plug for you, man. But the video that you shared with the copper and the magnets, that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need someone to try that. Who can get hold of thick copper tubing? Because I tried it with thin copper tubing and it didn't work.
It didn't work?
Nah.
It doesn't work. But copper doesn't like magnetic charge pull.
I got plenty of copper at my work.
Well, thick, sort of 2 inch thick tubing.
Maybe a bit smaller than that. Might be able to get a hold of some.
Well, anything, give it a go, and then with neodymium magnet and drop it through it, and
all right, and see if it does the
yeah, just see if it does it. Because I did it with a very, very small neodymium magnet and a copper tube, like heating tube, gas copper tube.
Before I lose this train of thought, Adam, on the electric battery idea, the moon and the craters on the moon. The moon craters do not in any way resemble impacts. We've discussed this before in our group, but I don't think you were around in those discussions, that it looks more like where an electrical arc occurred on the surface of the moon. So let's say that if this is a big electromagnetic battery and the moon is part of one of the poles, at some point they had to put it, they, whoever, him, whatever, creator, however you want to say it, it had to be put in the correct position, and at some point it was too close and was arcing out, and that's where all the craters were created, facing us, because crater impact shouldn't even happen on the face facing us. We should take those meteor impacts, not the moon.
Absolutely. You should have seen the flack I got from putting up a meme about that, about the craters on the moon facing our way. They came out in force to defend that one.
But it's a great point, though, isn't it?
I hadn't thought of that, actually.
Did they come from they either came from the Earth, or they went through the Earth, or at some point the moon was facing the other way, but then they've shown us the other side, and that's even worse, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like, when did NASA start a war with the moon, and why didn't they tell us? It was something stupid, clever like that. But no, it's true. It's ridiculous, man. Again, very simple thing. Like, how are those craters possible?
And all of the craters are flat bottomed and not very deep at all.
Right. No angles, are all straight 90-degree in.
There's no skid marks or anything along those. There's no sort of teardrop explosions or anything like that. Just full on,
perfectly straight, perpendicular.
Which is why it makes me think that the side of the moon that we all look at is actually the bottom side of the moon.
Yeah,
not the side. That was, as we're told.
Hey, we got a
floating in the ocean of the.
That's very interesting. What you just said, John. Go ahead, Rob. Do we have someone on chat?
Yeah, we have got someone on chat. Big Dave is asking: is the sun, moon, stars in another dimension that we can't see or understand?
Wow, that is a phenomenal question.
I would say we can see it, based on the fact that we can see the sun, the moon, and the stars.
The way the stars react on some videos and shots that you see, it just looks like they're in water to me, don't they? If you got a bit of a light in a glass of water, it sort of acts the same as the stars, if you know what I mean. Just the way they flicker, the way the colours change, and they flicker. It just seems like they're in water to me.
Now, to go along with that flashlight experiment that Phuket World was doing, what if you took like a very tiny LED and did it over a long distance and zoomed in? Do you think that the moisture in the atmosphere and just the waviness of all the moisture in the atmosphere is going to create this same type of cymatic look to the waviness of that little tiny LED? So it's just what we're actually seeing is interference.
I think it would disappear. I think it would, if you took a little LED and put it on the ground and did the same as Phuket World's video, which I can't find at the moment, with the lighter across the playground, I think at some point the LED would slip into the mirrored band and disappear. But that's a great one to experiment with, definitely.
Well, we've had some great points so far. I mean, a couple things that we need to test and look at. Copper's hard to come by here too, so if you've got it, Rob, that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome, man.
Yeah, we use it at work. So
Let's say an inch thick diameter wall, and you only need something like half a foot length of it.
Yeah.
And then just a normal square neodymium magnet, and it should, if that video is correct, it should slow down falling through it.
So you're saying the copper is an inch thick, or the diameter of the pipe?
The copper itself.
Right, yeah. Now that'd be hard to come by. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stuff that we've got probably is inch when we're using it for industrial.
Inch.
But, as in inch diameter of the pipe. Yeah, inch diameter. Yeah, three-quarters of an inch diameter. Yeah.
But about a millimetre thick. Probably.
Yeah. It'd be hard to come by that size pipe.
Yeah, it would. Which makes me suspicious.
Which is interesting now. That just makes me very curious as to how that was acquired. Unless it was maybe a teacher or that's interesting. My head went the same place at the same time, John.
I can't think of any industrial use why you'd need inch thick walls to essentially a 2-inch or an inch diameter copper tube. I can't see the need for that over engineering.
There's an interesting connection to Coral Castle. Edley Scallon. If you look at his, motor, he's got thick copper tubes on the wall next to it. So probably related.
Who's that?
Edley Scallon, the builder of Coral Castle.
Right. Yeah, copper tubes. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I bet Tesla had some copper tubing lying around as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the properties of copper, basically, it's not magnetic, is it?
Or minimally.
Very minimally, yeah.
I think it's just conductive.
Yeah, isn't it one of the superconductors?
Yeah,
I think it is. But how's your latest blog on gravity coming along?
I'm 6,000 words into it.
The bottom hasn't fallen through yet. Sorry, I got it. It's a Canadian cheesy humor, eh?
I've been writing a lot, so I've done a bit of background research on Royal Society and Freemasons and Vatican connections, and then kind of getting into the science now. Tesla, Einstein. It's going to be quite a...
Oh, there he goes.
Just as he gets going. But yeah, I was hoping he was going to mention how ridiculous the numerology of the amount the palace is spending and what that number means, the 369 billion or whatever million the Queen.
Go on, you explain, James.
Well, I don't remember, but it basically is a very bad number combination, which means I think it's the tetrahedron. Richard's going to explain it.
Richard's back. He can tell us.
But that was very interesting.
369, Richard. What's that all about?
Queen, building number.
Oh, way to put me on the spot.
Your turn. Well, it was Tesla, wasn't it? He basically said if you understood the 369, you would know the rest of the universe, blah, blah.
I mean, there's a lot to it in terms of numerology, in terms of magnetism. I don't know how to begin to describe it. I mean, I wrote a blog post talking about the magnetism connection with Edley Scallon and Coral Castle. The 369, you find that in what's it called? Rodin Maths.
Yeah, I was talking about that image you put in the chat there with the tetragram associated with the numbers, but I didn't mean to put you on the spot, man. I'm sorry.
Did you mean the hexagon?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah, so that's the theory from Enter the Stars YouTube channel, where he's basically found this mathematical synchronicity, I guess you could call it, where let me see if I get it right. The hexagonal 6-pointed star would have, the ratio of hexagons within the cube of the star would be 73 to 37 on the pyramids of the star, if you know what I mean. Pointy bits. So that ratio 73 and 37 are really key numbers in a lot of places. If you Google it or YouTube it, you can find some really cool videos on passages of the Bible that have 37, 73. And it's also closely related mathematically to that matrix, the cube star matrix. And when the Bible talks about the star of Remphan, the star of Satan, essentially, it's basically talking about a mathematical matrix, which is described by the 73, 37, and 369 encapsulates that. So let me see.
That's exactly what I was hoping you would explain. That's right.
So you have 3 times 37 is 111. 6 times 37 is 222. 9 times 37 is 333. So you have 111, 222, 333. Then you take. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so sorry. You take 3 times 73, and you get 219. You take 6 times 73, and you get 438, which is 2 times 219. And then you have 9 times 73, which is 6, whatever it is. It's 3 times 219, 657 or whatever it is. And so it's like this perfect mathematical, parallel. The beauty as well is the numbers 37 and 73. 37 is the 12th prime number. 73 is the 21st prime number. And you have the 12/21, which is the day Jesus was conceived, and his birthday is 9/11. So these mathematical numbers coincide, perfectly with biblical accounts. I'm going to write a blog post later on mathematical proof in the Bible. There's a really cool site called thelivingword.com where you can find a lot of this stuff. Very cool things you can find out when you get into numerology and synchronicity.
Interesting.
It's very, very cool stuff. And then you pair that with the stuff that Tesla was working on, 369, and you start to get, you merge the biblical account with mathematics and the scientific, not the science of, the pseudoscience like Newton and those people.
The real science.
The real science like Tesla, that's actually experimentally provable with scientific method. You start to put those pieces together and you get this puzzle. And it becomes very clear that we live in a mathematical universe. It's very cool.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing that. That was great.
I don't know if I managed to get those points across. I guess to a lot of people who don't know this material, I might sound like a lunatic, but, with all these numbers flying around. But
yeah, you do to me. But... I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
It's kind of difficult to just explain numbers and matrix this and that, just over the voice. But I've dropped a few of these images and things in the chat, the IRM chat, and I'll be blogging about it soon.
We will make sure to include those links and images in the final edit for you, Richard.
Yeah, look forward to the blog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where can we find your blog? Go ahead and plug it again.
www.thenarrowgateweb.wordpress.com. So the posts, I don't want to go through the whole list, but the relevant posts to the things I've just spoken about. The first post is on cymatics, which is the study of how sound affects matter.
Frequencies.
Tesla frequencies, Ed Leeds-Gallman, Carl Castle. It's not an exhaustive study, but it's an introduction. In post 13, which is magnetism, I go into Tesla 369 and the connection with magnetism and Ed Leeds-Gallman. And right now I'm working on a post to basically take gravity and kick it out the window. And then post number 27 in my blog will be the one on mathematical.
Excellent.
You must be getting a bit bored of being kicked out the window.
I think.
It's getting a little heavy.
Right. And what's funny,
really
once you
got
see
much back
this, once you see this whole gematria, this hidden number thing, it just pops up everywhere. I was watching something about the first Trinity nuclear test Oppenheimer did, and for some reason they chose to do the test at 5:29 and 45 seconds a.m. instead of doing it at 5:30 a.m., which makes more sense. And then when you add it all up and it's 7, what's the significance of 7 in that? Do you have a clue?
7 is a building number. It's a completion number, typically.
So
as I
tying
know
it
it.
into the Trinity with the destruction thing, they're just trying to rub it in the people's face.
I mean, I agree with what Richard said. Like, it's really hard to relay this whole thing over this medium right now.
It is.
And I think it'll be hard to translate. But the point I was trying to make is, though, there's something here, because I'm more like real world, literal type. And I see this number 33, I see 369, it's in the news. And then you actually do a little bit and you talk to people like Richard and other people, and you actually realize, holy fuzzwads, there's something to these numbers. Like, this is seriously, I'm seeing it on CNN. I'm the presidency was this number. This is, I can't deny it anymore, is what I'm getting at.
With the 369, you have to think, the royal families, they're going to steal your money, the taxpayers' money, regardless of what the news says. So that story that's put out by the mainstream media, I think it was in the Express, I saw one article, and then the BBC, the 369 million pounds to refurbish. I mean, that story is planted there for a reason. And I started decoding one night. I got a bit carried away when I was looking at a BBC
I saw that
headline, where you know how when you see headlines on CNN or BBC and these sites, they always put certain words in quotation marks, and you check the gematria of those words, and they start to form a pattern. And I did that one night on, you go on BBC, there's 6 stories there, 7 stories or whatever. And I just picked it apart word for word, literally. And every single word had, this numbers 33, 88, 42, all these numbers that create the narrative subconsciously in the mind. And the only way to kind of make this is kind of like sorcery. It sounds like a magic kind of wishy-washy term, but if you're not aware of how the numbers and subliminal numerical programming works, you're at the mercy of it. So the only way to deprogram yourself is to become aware of it and effectively bring this information from your subconscious into your conscious mind, so you see it. And once, like you say, James, when you're aware of the numbers and stuff, you see stories like 369 million, and you think, like, hang on a sec, what is this? And then you dig deeper and you get the real meaning, what they're trying to tell you. The headline is one thing, the story is one thing, but the real story is in the numbers.
Well, it's a form of idol worship in my mind. They are idol worshiping the numbers, and they are always. It's almost, I don't know. It's almost I equate it to a guy in the playoffs who's got his lucky jock strap. They always pay homage to whatever numbers their leader has, and it's everywhere. I mean, I could go on even more about scarier stuff that seems to happen, and I don't know if it's in my head or pseudoscience. I've mentioned it before, but lately when I look at the clock, when I look at it's 3:33.
Man, I was just gonna say.
I get that all the time.
I looked at my phone. It was 33% charged at 4:44 a while ago. I was gonna.
Yep.
I was actually on the phone with a friend and telling him about this, and then I walked past the barbershop, 33, and then phone charge, 33% battery or 69% battery, or
it doesn't stop.
It never stopped.
I walked my dog earlier, and there's a car drives by. I just glance at the number plate, and it's these numbers 669 or 666 always, and it's just. I mean, you sound crazy saying this, but it's...
I do. I didn't want to mention it. It sounds like Mandela. I mean...
It's true.
I'd like to hazard a guess that Rob is not quite on board with this.
I'm listening.
All right, back to the fire.
No, I see numbers. I do see numbers, but
I mean, there
it just seems like people try too hard to get to some numbers sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's like chemtrails. Once someone points them out to you, then you can never not see them again. You're always looking for them. You're always seeing them. Whereas other people are just wandering through life and they never see any of this. They never look up.
The subconscious is always taking in, what the eyes see. We only focus on, the small, part of the eye, what we see. But the subconscious mind is taking everything in. And if we programmed our mind to recognize certain numbers, we'll see them all the time. So it's true what John's saying. That doesn't mean there's nothing to it, but our mind is we're kind of programming our mind to see those numbers.
Can you test it? Can you prophesy something via it, or? Like using the scientific method in some way, is there a way of showing it?
I did that with the BBC News, picked it apart, the same numbers came up. That wasn't me trying to look for them. That was the gematria, every single word was 88 or 69 or 33 or 13 or something. So that was the news headlines. That wasn't me seeing it. That was just me.
Is that when you put it into one of those websites or whatever, and it gives you the numerical value?
Yeah.
Right, got you. How are they worked out? Is that sort of through, ancient sort of Hebrew numbering of letters?
So it's a Babylonian system, actually. It was the Babylonians and two other peoples that originally used it. But I just quickly, before I give it back to Richard here, was just going to say Rob is right, because I mean, I'm the one that brought up the numbers, and I definitely see them, and I know they mean something. But look at today. The world was supposed to end today. It's 1119, right? So sometimes they're wrong, and you got to keep that in mind. That's why for me, it's a growing thing. I'm skeptical. I see it. I know there are connections, but yet when another date goes by that has been prophesized,
I think when we correlate these numbers to our Gregorian date system, it's surely there's something more raw base calendar that we can use than sort of 9/11. It was 9/11.
Right. If we can find that 360 day calendar and that we lost.
Every time there's a date that something's supposed to happen and it never does. It never does.
Rob, there's a certain element with predicting dates. I mean, I wrote a blog post about November 16 because 116, 119, and these numbers always come up. It wasn't so much a prediction as much as just documenting synchronicities that you can find in movies.